Hey, this is Malika of Evanston Live TV, and I have with me today, I was just telling her that I was just talking to somebody the other day who brought up Misty Wittenberg. And I said, yep, she's a firecracker. And they were like, yes, she is. Yes, she is. 5 foot tall, but do not mess with Misty Wittenberg. Welcome.
That should be my campaign slogan.
Welcome back, Misty. I've had you on the show before. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Malika.
Now you're running for city clerk, which a lot of
Sorry.
people a lot of people are excited about, and some people are starting to shake in their boots, like, oh no, we can't have Misty in the clerk's office. Absolutely not. She will let the residents know everything that's going on. No, we can't do that. Um, you are the research queen. Nobody can take that away from you. And you have been a truth seeker, and you've been about trying to tell the residents of Evanston this is what's going on in our local government. So you have a lot of people who appreciate you because you are a truth seeker, and then you have just that group that's, they're either in office or they're criminal insides protecting those in office who absolutely do not want you around. So, Misty, girl, tell us, what made you decide to run for city clerk?
Yeah, so I started petitioning back in August, and there were a lot of potential candidates for clerk, and there were some that I didn't see supporting a lot of our sunshine laws that start with the clerk's office. And so I dropped, I had spoken to now she's my other, my opposing candidate, but Stephanie Mendoza, and had asked, I told her how important FOIA was to me, and that I thought I was the best person for the job, but I thought she was second best, and I did not want to split that vote. So I withdrew. And then when there was the electoral board hearings, and Jane Grover, who was the other candidate, withdrew her candidacy, I had people again reaching out to me about doing the write-in thing. So I researched it, as you said. What is my calling, research, and I saw it as an opportunity to get in there. The problems that need to be addressed are very, very big, and they require someone who is very knowledgeable about them. And I am just the best person to do that, if not the current clerk. I just have enough background to start from day one, to get rolling and start pushing to get things back where they need to be.
One of the things that I notice about the similarities between you and Devon is a research king and you're a research queen. And I think that is definitely needed, in a city clerk's office. Need to be very detailed oriented, because you can't put anything over on Devon. He always has some documentation to prove this is what's going on. This is the information. And what I loved about Devon as city clerk is he was always educating the public on how to get this information. And I think that's when he started having problems, was because residents became educated and they started putting in FOIA requests and getting more information about what the hell has been going on. And that became a problem for some people at the city. I won't say all, but for some people at the city, that became a problem because he was a truth seeker, and rightfully he had to release that information to whoever requested it. And you have been that person for free. without a title. So, Misty, so what I understand, they've taken FOIA away from the city clerk. Can you explain that? Because that is a huge part of his office.
Yeah, and I want to get into, just let me preface this by starting with, there are basically 4 sunshine laws in Illinois. You have FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, which everyone knows about, that says that the people are entitled to all information about how our government's conducted, everything leading up to decisions. And to withhold information, the city has to provide clear and convincing evidence. So if you, for example, citizens or residents' private contact information, social security numbers, that is protected information. They should not be releasing that. Unfortunately, I'll get into that. Secondly, we have the Open Meetings Act, also called OMA, and that says that the residents have a right to advance notice and to participate in meetings unless strictly adhering to some of these exceptions. Thirdly, we have the Local Records Act, which kind of goes hand in hand with FOIA. It says the city cannot destroy records about the conduct of city business. And then lastly, you have the Citizen Participation Act, which is really just emphasizing that the citizens have right to speech, to participate in government, to petition their grievances to the city or higher bodies. And all of those really come into play with why the FOIA's office was moved. So Clerk Reed entered office in around 2017, and he ran on a transparency platform, and he looked to follow FOIA. And he had a lot of backlash. I mean, it's the story is so complicated, but I'm going to try to say it as straightforward as possible. The city directed him to act contrary to FOIA law, and he wouldn't do that. So there were, they basically undermined his authority and obstructed him from performing his duties of office by instructing staff to withhold these records from the FOIA clerk and ultimately to withhold them from the public. So he filed after a year and a half of trying to get these records so that he could comply with his duties. He filed a civil case for declaratory judgment, which just means the judge interprets the law and says who's correct. But how his duties were changed was at April 29th closed city council meeting. It was the day that they received notice from Clerk Reed's attorney that he was intending to seek this declaratory judgment. A 4th Ward alderman, who's an attorney, our current one, suggested that they add more FOIA officers as means to moot Reed's suit. That information was not given to the public. In fact, we were told that it was to aid in FOIA compliance, but most of the powers were transferred to the law department, and the city knew that they were not complying with FOIA. That was the reason they would like to moot the suit. So that was not in the public's interest. We should have known that. We should have known the reason. And because it was done in a closed session, we did not know. I only happen to know because I've had, all of these leaks. Most of them have been to me. They're unsolicited and they're anonymous, so I don't know who they're from, but there are clearly people, we have good staff and good leaders who care enough to want to get the information out, no matter the personal cost. Sorry, I'm gonna get a drink. So
Girl, that's a lot of information. Yeah, there's been a leak, and it's interesting. They send it to just certain people in the community, and you're one of those people. So yeah, it does let you know that there's somebody at the city who is very concerned about how what's going on in our local government, and that information is being kept from the residents that they need to know. So, and you've always been that person to try to tell Evanstonians, this is what's going on. And they're seeing you as either, an angel, thank God she's letting us know. And then you have those who are seeing you as she's blowing up the apple cart, she's messing up the system,
right.
you know, um, girl. So yes, please tell us more about these lawsuits. I know you've been involved in lawsuits. Like, what's happening? What is happening?
Oh, well, so there was early on, again, back to 2007, we had a town hall with the city mayor, and he is I remember, I believe it was resident Roselle James who asked, well, what do we do when, our city leaders are breaking the law? How do we hold them to account? Policy, law, rules, whatever it is. And the mayor's answer was, well, you can take us to court, or you can wait until the next election. Now, I don't see those options as acceptable. In fact, I also don't see them as the only options the city is mandated to provide. But just knowing that many people cannot afford to bring a suit, hire an attorney, or don't have the resource to do it otherwise, I decided that I could be that person, and I took that seriously. So yeah, there have been 4 lawsuits. 3 of them I brought against the city, and 1 of them they brought against me. There's only 1 of them that is completed. And that one is probably the one that might be more boring to some people, but it's one of my proudest achievements, is that we did not, on my block, have signs for no parking for street cleaning. And we have some adjudication problems at the city, which we can go into, but residents get ticketed. So much of our revenue is from people being ticketed, and we know who that typically affects. So I just started parking where I knew I would get a street cleaning ticket. This is, again, the only way we're afforded opportunity to make change. And I got a ticket, and I attempted to appeal it. I asked for a hearing, and they told me that they wouldn't give me my hearing information. I would have to FOIA it, which is, I'm going to say, an inconsistent process. So I wasn't afforded a hearing, and then through some sort of arbitrary system, they then afforded me an electronic hearing, which I wasn't able to participate in. I'm not really clear how that all went down, but the situation is that the sign that's in the officer's photo is a neighborhood safety sign. It was not a street cleaning sign, and up to 3 hearing officers and a judge all said, no, this sign that says neighborhood safety says street cleaning. So it's a $75 ticket. It is to have that administratively reviewed in circuit court is $300, $400. Only I was going to take that there, and I did, and I won. And the city reimbursed me for my filing fees, and I never paid the ticket. But they didn't fix the signs. So I just continued to park there, and I just continued to get tickets. And, we just repeated the process. Now we have signs. So, but residents should not have to go to those measures. We should have ways to, be, again, petitioning our grievances, which is has to do with the remaining lawsuits, 2 of which regard ethics adjudications, and I won't go too far into detail about those because they're pending. And one of them is also related to those proceedings, where the city, under this new FOIA system, sent me, for some reason, because I did not request it, the entire history on record since 2015 of the human resources personnel logs. And they didn't properly redact it. I didn't even know what information was there. I went to make a note and all of the little boxes came up, so I knew it wasn't redacted. And presuming it had to do with the actual information I requested, I removed it and had all of this information. And unfortunately, or possibly fortunately, because now someone knows, it showed racially disparate processes, procedures under the HR department. I think it's important for residents to know that one reason we don't receive information is because there is a culture of retaliation against whistleblowers in the city. That is a fact. There are also racially disparate practices. And if you are an African-American whistleblower, there is an exclusive sole procedure that the city goes through only for those people. It involves retaining outside counsel at taxpayer cost. Those people are not afforded due process. Those decisions, as with our ethics decisions, are written in advance by people who are interested. All of those people, then the city has either removed from office or attempted to remove from office. And we also pay those settlements. This is information we should know. And this is what happens when we have so much public business being conducted in the shadows. We entrust power to our government leaders. When they are dishonest through misleading statements, through outright lies, when they don't tell us the whole truth and engage in other abuses of our trust, that is corruption, and corruption lives in the shadows. And that is why sunshine laws are so important. We should be knowing that we are funding, the public is funding work that I would argue is not in the public interest. I mean, I dare say that we have collectively as a society decided that racially disparate practices are not in the public interest. And I sorry, I have an echo here. Are you getting that?
No.
Okay. And we've also decided as a society that people on the inside should be able to report wrongdoing. But other than that, I don't necessarily need to present any positions. I just want citizens to have, residents, I keep saying citizens, but residents should have this information, because that is the only way that we can hold power to account. That was very long. I'm sorry. I have so much to say on this topic.
No, I think people will appreciate hearing that information from you. It's interesting because of
I didn't actually.
Oh, go ahead.
I didn't actually answer your question. Sorry. So this last two, the other one, and this one was also dismissed, was when so the city sued me for receiving that information they provided me through FOIA, and alleged that I, as a non-public body, not inside the government, had violated FOIA, OMA. The mayor additionally charged me with violating the Illinois Personnel Records Act, and sought a restraining order and injunction to prevent me from disclosing the information about the city's personnel practices, which is frankly repulsive. I mean, we should know that. We are entitled to know, maybe not people's names or offenses, but we should be knowing what we're funding. Sorry, I just realized I hadn't actually answered your whole question.
And what happened with that lawsuit, that particular
Oh,
lawsuit?
the city dismissed it, and they dismissed it in a manner that, so had to retain an attorney for that one. And I can't remember, but it was, $5,500, something like that. And the city dismissed it in such a way that there's no way I can recover those costs. So again, they could have directly, I had been willing for months from the moment I actually received that log. The same day I received it was the mayor's town hall in November. It was at Temperance. And I attempted to speak with him about it. I also talked a lot about it at council. No one responded to me. If we're not engaging with our citizens and we're instead suing them, again, at taxpayer cost and my personal cost, that is not, in my opinion, an effective democracy.
Misty, you have invested you've invested money in just trying to get to the truth, just in legal fees alone to inform the public about what's actually happening in our local government. And I'm more than positive 99% of Evanston doesn't know any of what you just any of what you just discussed with us. Just in talking to you earlier, I was like, really? I did not know that that was going on.
You're getting the debuted information.
Mm, mm. So you're a write-in for city clerk,
Correct.
and I know a lot of people are happy that you decided to run, to get out there, and people were disappointed when you stopped running because you weren't sure what was happening. Um, the government, we need fighters. We need fighters right now. With everything that just happened at the Capitol, it seems like there's now becoming a shift where things are being exposed, and now truth seekers, we're hoping good people are getting into those seats and change all of this, fix the mess, change things, and we move upwards. So I think everyone's looking forward to some of the seats on the council definitely changing, um, and bringing in new blood. And how do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Oh, I think we need it. Again, I always think it's a mistake to villainize one side and make the other side correct. They are good. We have some good people on council, and we have some people who have been there a long time and have not demonstrated any consideration or real consideration to public involvement. I can say, I don't know. I don't necessarily believe in endorsement, so I'm not endorsing this person, but I can say, for example, Ninth Ward Alderman Fleming, she and I disagree on many things, but she sticks her neck out, and she has a backbone when it comes to, having a decision that's maybe not in line with some of her more tenured members. Those members who have been there for a long time, I think that who are running in this election should be addressing their failings in these areas, particularly where it comes to public participation. We had, I believe, 7 measures following an Open Meetings Act violation finding by the state that restricted public participation. I would like to see those. I would like to either see those reversed, or I will be working to make other avenues for the public to participate.
So, Misty, how can we get FOIA back into, if you're elected city clerk, how do we get FOIA back in your hands? And what will you continue? Because Devon laid out a very strong foundation. To the point we have a clue what the city clerk actually does now. course, before we weren't really, sure. And so he's pretty much laid it out for whoever steps in to build upon, or, you know, if, yeah, or they could destroy it, break it down, and run it the way that the city wants them to run it. Um, what are your plans to get FOIA back? Because that's a powerful tool for residents.
Yes.
It really is. And we thank Devon for educating us on that. So how do you intend to get that back? And what are you
So
going to
how
build?
we do that is democracy. It's truth. We find out, we were promised benchmarks of how this new plan was progressing. We weren't provided those, but of course, some of us have done that research on our own, and it has frankly been a very poor step in response times and appeals. So we give that information. There's also some possibility that the resolution that was made and that changed that policy is not valid. We can look into that. And then we tell residents all of that truth. We tell our decision makers all of that truth. We are completely transparent about it. The decision makers then hear from constituents. They make their decisions based on the truth, and they are held accountable by the public. It is a policy decision, so I can't make it directly, but I can provide the transparency necessary for people to act in their interest in their government, which is what is supposed to happen.
And I'm going to ask one more question, and then I want to open it up for anyone who's joined us. If you have any questions, please use the raise your hand signal. If you can't find it or you're having technical difficulties, put the question in the chat and I'll call on you, and then you'll unmute yourself and turn your camera on and ask Misty a question. My last question for you, Misty. Actually, gosh darn it, it just left me. Okay, with FOIA, and praying that it gets back into the city clerk's office. I know one of the problems Devon had was with the city manager's office with Wally. Well, for a number of reasons. Well, one, because he informed the public about FOIA and people actually started using it. And then, some other personality things. I honestly don't think that they used Devon's talents. They really could have utilized him and just really made that office, amazing. But what is your relationship with Erica Storley at this point?
I would say acquaintances. I mean, we've certainly worked together. I was initially supportive of her becoming city manager, and I believe I told her so myself at a council meeting. I have been disappointed by a lot of things, but I do believe in government. There can be, I believe, and I know this is controversial, but there should not be alliances and there should not be grudges. And I do see Erica Storley as a measured, rational person. And I think we don't have personality conflicts. I mean, she may dislike some information that I'm providing, but I think that she would like to stay in her job. And I think there will be a culture change where doing the best thing is what will keep you a staff person in their job, especially a leader. And so I will attempt to speak with her, and I will speak to her a lot, and I will not stop speaking to her about how these things need to be handled, in my opinion. And then we make it, for the voters and decision makers to decide.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm gonna open up for questions. Okay, we have Linda Delbosky. If you can unmute yourself, turn on the camera if you want to turn on the camera.
No, I'm fine. Thank you. And thank you, Malika, for hosting all your platforms. I mean,
Thank
you've
you.
done such a great job from one media person to another. And I mean, I really enjoyed to see all the work you've been doing. And I'm finally having a time to sit down and listen to Misty. And Misty, you're another person with Malika that has just been working in the community so with passionately and dedicated. Why do you feel that it's your time to run and to run for to be clerk? I mean, what if you were to sum it up in one statement? I know you're going through lawsuits, you're doing this and that, but to get more people, the equity and the quality and the inclusiveness that we need and deserve in Evanston. But what would it be the main reason why you're running?
I'm running. The main reason, in one sentence, is that we need an advocate for the public in the clerk's office
Mhm.
and for transparency, which is, now I'm probably getting into a sub sentence, but we need transparency for our democracy to work, and we need someone who knows and understands FOIA and the other sunshine laws to advocate for the public's rights under those laws.
Okay, so I thank you for stepping up and working for all of our good and our, so that we can have a better tomorrow, a better future. Thank you, in Evanston.
Thank you,
That's
Linda.
it. Thanks.
Misty, you come from a journalist background, right? You're a writer,
Correct. A reporter. Mhm.
a reporter, yes. So you know all about research and getting to the truth. I think people need to know that about you. Tell people a little bit more about your background, because being a journalist, a reporter, those are truth seekers. They
Right.
are truth
Well,
seekers, yes.
in a lot of ways, it's prepared me perfectly for this role because so I spent 10 years in print media as a reporter, copywriter, and editor. And then I went to the web. So I have a ranging amount of information. I know that facts matter. I know that how information that needs to be protected. And I know people's constitutional rights under the First Amendment, which was the other focus of my studies. And I also know how to protect information digitally, which is another issue where the city has had some competency issues. I forgot the rest of your question. Oh, my background has, yeah, it's that you report. Facts matter. The information you say needs to be full and complete. Half truths are still lies or misleading, and people are entitled under Illinois law to the full truth, which are the same principles of journalism.
Hmm. I know you and I had spoke a couple years ago. We were sitting in the back of the chamber, and uh, I was asking you, doing journalism work in a small city like Evanston can get a little tricky. So
Yes.
when you become this truth seeker and you want to really inform the public of what's going on, when you're in a small city, it can get almost dangerous. It can get almost dangerous. And you and I had that conversation. I was like, you know, like I had people waiting outside the Civic Center for me one night, like just a group of
Mhm.
people waiting to just beat the crap out of me. Um, and all I wanted to do was get the truth out to people for them to make an informed decision. You process the information however you want, but this is what's
Right.
happening. Um, so, I mean, and you're already feeling the heat just being a resident trying to get the truth out to people. So, how will you handle that if you're elected city clerk? And I mean, and they know where to find you. They might not know where you live right now, but they know where to find you at the office. I mean, because, you know, like I said, there's inside criminals, they're not in office, they don't hold a seat, but they protect certain people who hold seats. And it gets a little intense. It gets a little crazy. And they know that they know that that city official is wrong, but they're getting something on the other end. They're getting a favor or something. They're getting something on the other end. So they will go through any lengths. They will blackball, they will slander. I mean, they go through lengths to try to stop a truth seeker in a small city like Evanston. So I mean, you're a firecracker and I know you're fearless. How do you intend to handle that if you're elected city clerk and they know where to find you?
Well, I mean, people have known where to find me for a very long time because, you know, of posts of all of my family's information, photos of my children. And I will do what I did then, which was go before the city and make that information public. There are other things that a lot of that had to happen to be online and was captured. So I had evidence but other you know, occurrences like what happened to you, I think you reported it immediately after. I haven't done that. I basically say nothing unless I have something to show it, but people are already finding me. People are already threatening me. People are already, you know, approaching me and I'm trying to think of the word in a way that makes me think that they're going to physically harm me. So none of that will be new. The difference will be that I'll be inside the clerk's office and will be far more protected, unfortunately, than I was as a private citizen.
Mm, mm.
And I'm not scared.
I know you're not scared. I know you are not. You get up there. I've seen you at council. You get up there and you're about it. And one of the questions one of the aldermen had asked another candidate was, what's, you know, pretty much what's the difference between, or what have you been doing to prepare to become an alderman? I think many people will say you have been long prepared to be a city clerk, most definitely. Your background and you've been doing the work to get information out to people. And how do you intend to continue to educate people on voting? Because Devon was really great at that.
Yes.
Getting people out to the polls and educating them on the whole voting process. What's your plan
Yeah.
for that?
So Clerk Reed and I should say up front, we don't agree on every single thing, but educating the public and getting the public information is somewhere we are in complete alignment. So I will continue and build on the clerk's efforts to inform people about elections. I think that we need to do a much better job providing that information forms multilingually, that we need to also remember that, you know, we have people absorb information so differently in addition to, this is not exclusive to election info, but just understanding knowing our government, what's going on, information that includes more graphics, people are visual learners, and also having emails, sort of like what the aldermen do for ward meetings. I will be implementing a sort of know your government email that includes for elections specifically, you know, early voting starts today. That's easy to get into people's mailboxes, link to all of the information they can find online or other resources. So I'll be implementing that not just for elections, but, you know, across the board when important issues are before council, you know, ways to understand them. Here's relevant information. You know, one of the principles in journalism that I think applied to the clerk's office is show, don't tell, which is here are the facts, make your own decision.
Don Wilson, Alderman Don Wilson, recently I did a forum. I don't know if you watched that for the second ward, fourth ward, and eighth ward. And one of the things he said, which, you know, I wanted to comment, but I didn't want to insert myself and take the forum in a whole nother direction. But he had said that our media is on the decline and that residents are relying too much on social media to get their information. And so I guess that's why he was explaining why there's a disconnect between him and the fourth ward residents why they're not getting information that they should be getting. Um, of course, I wanted to say something to that because I was like, you're on social media right now, you're on a media platform right now. But, you know, I didn't want to take the forum somewhere else. I wanted it to be about them and the residents. Um, what are your thoughts on that? Because, you know, he's described us as a circus, and really, I don't think our media is on a decline in Evanston. I think we got plenty of media outlets.
Yeah, I mean, Evanston is very well reported on. I can't speak for all social media. I think we all know that there is a culture of, you know, worldwide of misinformation and alternative facts. So how we solve that are shared facts. We know what the record is. We know the information behind it. You know, a lot of the time that council members, and I won't pick only on Alderman Wilson, but we've been hearing, oh, you know, it's misinformation, alternative facts, when the information that the residents brought forward was correct. It was the facts. It was unspun. You know, something interesting that I thought also happened in that forum, I believe it regarded affordable housing. You know, you talked for a long time about that. And there was, it regarded housing in the second ward, and candidate Cannon, you know, mentioned that, you know, they hadn't been presented all of the information. And it was spun by a couple of incumbents that, oh, people say they want affordable housing. They don't want it in their backyard. That was not what she had said. That was, you know, a partial, they had said, well, we had all these meetings. That was a partial truth. They had meetings, but they improperly informed the residents there as to that building. So I'm not putting forward a position on whether that structure should have been built or not, but I thought it was interesting that one of your sponsors piped up and said, you know, I was at those meetings. We should have had that information. And it changed the tone. That's accountability. The facts are brought forward, we can hold them to account. We can't do that when they are the only voices telling us truth. And if we don't accept it, then we're believing untruths. That's just, it is factually incorrect.
So Missy, we got about 3 more minutes left. What do you want to get out to the? Oh, did someone have a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is Devon Reed. How are you? I'd love to ask you a question.
Mark. Yes,
Hi.
yes.
So, Misty, you have been someone over the course of my term, as has been spoken about here, who's been extremely involved, and you've helped me grow as clerk with, you know, sometimes us, you know, talking about FOIA and other discussions. So I want to ask, you know, I want the next clerk to be a better clerk than I. You know, I want to continuously see the clerk's office improving. So what do you think that you can do, you know, maybe differently than I did, or what do you think you can improve upon, you know, with your skill set that's different than mine?
Okay, well, I don't know all of the, you know, exactly how things happened organizationally and sort of that way. But I would be taking the best from you, which has been your fierceness to public rights under FOIA and OMA. I'll be taking the best from your predecessors. Also, you know, Clerk Green started things becoming online, and you started digitizing records so they were searchable. I'll be expanding all of those. As far as what I'll do differently, I don't know that I want to come in and do things far differently than either of you. I want to build on what you guys are already doing. I can tell you that I would hope to be less controversial than unfortunately you had to endure. But I will be, you know, putting forward information in different ways. One thing I will really be working on is ensuring council members have all of the information necessary, relevant to whatever they're deciding, because I see right now that they're also getting partial information and they can't make informed decisions to the public that way. And I don't know, maybe you did that too. There's a lot I don't.
No, I didn't. So thank you for that. That's a good idea. I don't know if they would have listened to me.
You are in a difficult position, and unfortunately, there are things that you can't control that I may have a better opportunity of being heard. But I think that we should be discussing that too. Maybe not on this interview, but holistically as a community. We will be discussing your process for sure.
Well, we did touch on some racism in the beginning of the interview. We didn't go too deep into it, but that is definitely an issue at the city. The different lawsuits. I mean, what are your plans with looking into that? Our HR department. I can say that I had approached the city about, helping out their communications department because I felt like their community engagement is lacking. They're not really reaching all wards, not reaching everyone with information. And actually, Haggerty tried to get me in there. But HR and the communications department, they were like, no, Evanston Live TV, pretty much I can't come in there to work for free.
Right.
So yeah, so I'm pretty sure they don't want me in there because I'm a truth seeker as well, and I'm about the people. How do you intend to handle that? Yeah, your experience might be a little bit different from Devon's, because he's a young Black man and very, very knowledgeable and a force.
And I'm not a young Black man.
Right. You're a young white woman, but you're a truth seeker at the same time. So it's still somewhat.
It's the same principles that I keep saying. I'm putting a lot of this forward as a candidate because I want people to know up front. When I get in there, it's already known. We have to deal with it, or the public sees that we are refusing to deal with it. I've seen the council and the city bristle a lot at being pointed out for racial disparities. And, nobody likes being called racist or saying that you're causing racialized harm. But I just think everyone needs to not bristle. It is a fact that institutions and people where we have inherent biases, and our government and our systems are built on racial discrimination. So instead of immediately getting defensive, I think it's important to consider it. And if it helps, think of it as, okay, well, I just didn't put forth the extra effort in this occasion, which is easy for white people to do because we don't have to live with it all the time. We can forget, we can get lazy. Okay, I was lazy, or I forgot to do this extra step to ensure I was being equitable, racially, socioeconomically, whatever. It seems to be racism, though, that we have the real issue with. And then you can consider it from a place that's not defensiveness. I mean, I work for equity. I don't want to be wasting my time doing something that, I think is helpful, but is actually harmful. And I've been lucky to have people point out to me, oh, this wasn't like, I know you think you're helping, but this, you don't want to. And then I'm grateful because I don't waste my time doing harm when I mean to be doing good. And if we can all sort of just relax and, everyone's racist, everything's racist. Let's just accept that from the starting point, and we can, actually move forward that way.
Okay, Misty, well, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know you got to get out there and deal with people and get the information out to the people. You're a write-in for city clerk. Her name is Misty Witenberg. Do you have one T, Witenberg.
Right.
Misty, where can people contact you, get some more questions, get more information about you?
Well, I'm excited to announce on Evanston Live TV that I just posted my Facebook page, and I believe it does connect to the website, but the website should be up later today, maybe tomorrow. It's a whole DNS. I don't totally understand it, but anyway, they will have a wealth of information for me there, and they can contact me through those channels. And I'll be constantly posting and giving email updates. You'll know everything relevant to know about me for this.
Okay, thank you so much, Misty. And just one more message out to the people that you want people to know about Misty Witenberg.
That I will fight for everyone. It doesn't matter if we've had disagreements, altercations, whatever you want to call it. Every single person is as important to me and will be heard by me at the same level.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Misty. And thank you to our guests who've attended. We will be releasing this video out, of course, to the public. Misty and I, we were up super late last night. And I was like, I got to get you on the show. I got to get you
Every
on the
night.
show.
Every night.
So we didn't get a chance to promote this interview, but definitely going to release it out today. And thank you so much, Misty. Thank you for all your work, no matter what happens with the city clerk position. Thank you for your service to the community over the past several years. Thank you.
Thank you for yours.
Thank you. And this has been Malika, Evanston Live TV. You all stay tuned. We have more candidates coming up. We have the mayoral forum coming up this Thursday, the 21st at 7 p.m. Then we have D65, January 20th. And then we have the 5th Ward Forum, January 21st. So you all stay tuned, and more individual candidate interviews coming up as well. Thank you for supporting Evanston Live TV, and stay tuned.